Hello everyone and welcome to the witht channel! Today with a very special topic, always special. A friend of mine had a very good idea to rework the territory and the siege system. This is also linked in the description, by the way. But I'm not talking about only his idea, because he came up with his idea of the thing. And we all, a lot of Mortal Online 1 veterans maybe remember, we all talked about that over 10 years ago, over the same system. And no, I'm not talking about, oh yeah, we should definitely do the idea now I have in a video. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, please think about the system we have right now and think about some improvements maybe. And no, I don't want to ruin your gameplay and your style of playing. This is not my intention, okay? And that is a very interesting topic, just in my opinion, because we had Mortal Online 1, we had stuff that was going wrong with that system. Then we have Mortal Online 2, and Star Wars is doing more or less the same, but with a different approach. But the much more interesting thing is why they didn't pick up the idea that was already there. And that is a very good question. But let's talk about the idea itself. And if you don't know how the current territorial control system work, I'm sorry this video is not long enough to explain you all of that, but basically it's currently now if you have a guild, you can place a structure, a stronghold, or maybe a keep or something like that, and you can place territory control structures, like for example guards. You can place guards or something like that, just for example. So in order to explain you the new idea, which is basically not new, which is new in the form of more adapted to Mortal Online 2, but basically the same idea people had over 13 years ago. So my friend Sabotage got the idea that we could split the map in sectors. These just here, for example, these are just example sectors. Don't take it seriously, please. This is just the idea of a new territory control system. So here, for example, we have a keep. A keep has a keep radius. Then we have, for example, a sector or something like that. And in a sector, you can also have the control when you have, for example, a stronghold there, or maybe even a house. You can gain the advantage to have a sector there. And here comes the mix of the new idea from my friend and the mix of what the old Mortal Online 1 community wanted. Just for example, if you have a stronghold in this area and the stronghold were standing there for 2 years or something like that, then this sector is owned by that or that guild. And every tax in this sector goes to that guild. And if you, for example, have another stronghold in there, which has also, I don't know, 100 days of existence, then maybe that stronghold now gains the new sector. So the stronghold with the longest holding time in the sector is holding the sector. And everything there could also be balanced completely out. The other thing is, if you, for example, have a stronghold, so the stronghold wars are more or less separated from the sectors. As a stronghold owner, you can gain, just for example, sectors. The sector owner, the landlord more or less of the sector, is getting taxes. And you, as the keep owner of the sector, you are also getting taxes from that. It's like splitting half-half, more or less. It would benefit imperialism and stuff like this, like feudalism, and like having warlords on sectors, and also having kings in keeps. You know what I mean? Another interesting factor that Sabotage, with the new idea, came to the conclusion that it's maybe the best that only the sector owner can, for example, build territory control structures. And that the keep owner in their keep territory, also the owner of the sectors, can also build in there. And that all the other people can't build territorial control structures in the sectors until they win the sector as a guild or as an alliance, for example. So you can still build everywhere strongholds, and you can build everywhere houses and stuff like that, so that small groups can still play the game like they did before. But this change would bring a chance for real feudalism, for a real meaningful political landscape. because the current problem, here comes the current problem. So about in that area, a lot of people build stuff from nearly all guilds that they can make the minor dungeon. The main example here is like a lot of people building TC stuff there, like guards and many other territory control stuff like banks and stuff. For example, 3 or 4 or 5 guilds are building their TC banks, TC guards and stuff like that, which doesn't have a meaning because the people just want to make the minor dungeon. I mean, of course. But if only the sector owners can build there, and the keep owners who are owning this sector can build there, then we have a lot more conflict in the whole world of Mortal, and we don't have conflicts clustered all over the map. I mean, just to give you a brief example, we as a Wolfside guild, we have fights near the Necro dungeon, we have fights near the Minor dungeon, and we have fights near the Riser dungeon, and we have of course fights in the Tephra crater. But these are not only fights. These are stuff like, okay, we need to build a TC bank here. We need to build a guard tower there that no one else can go in there or beside our shit there. So that we can own this little territory there, that we can have fights to continue the fights on this area. But just in my personal understanding, and even in the understanding of the old Mortal Online 1 players, a lot of them basically, they wished for a system where it's meaningful to fight over dungeons and to fight over sectors. Because currently it's like 5 or 6 people are building strongholds near a dungeon just to farm people at the dungeon. Everyone is building an alert tower, and with that alert tower, everyone knows that our enemy is in the dungeon, and then they are all logging in and going into the dungeon and kill the enemy. I mean, okay, that's sometime legit, but there are 6 guilds nearly at every dungeon and have alert towers there, same as we have, for example, that we know that if there's an enemy in there, then we are coming there with 10 or 20 people and killing everyone in there. Of course we do that. And this is in some ways or forms, this is the basic of territory control. But just think about a sector gameplay compared to what we have now, at least a little bit. And the much more interesting thing is the balance is completely. I'm not saying, oh, this needs to be balanced like this, or this needs to be balanced like this. No. I see it like Sabotage, and I see it like most of the Mortal Online 1 players. They don't want to force Star Vault into doing that. They don't want to have unbalanced shit. No one likes unbalanced shit. But if you see the whole concept of the sectors and of the keeps as kingdoms and the sectors as warlords, you could breed much more conflict and much more meaningful political PvP instead of that what we have now. Because right now a lot of guilds are spread around the map, just building their territorial control structures in front of dungeons and stuff like that. And this is just stupid. If the 5 or 6 guilds who had currently, I don't say any names, territorial control structures in front of the Minor dungeon or the Necro dungeon and stuff like that, would just compete over the territory, then it would be much more meaningful conflict about the territory there, about the dungeon there, instead of like, okay, we know, oh, there's a group in there, yeah, let's wipe them until they leave the game, until they don't want to come to our dungeon anymore. Instead of just one guild having more or less the power of that area of the dungeon, more or less, and other guild needs to compete against that guild to own the dungeon, to own the right to build territorial control stuff there. But this is just part of my personal opinion. Part of that was stuff from the Mortal Online 1 forum veterans, and part of that was from a friend of mine, Sabotage, who had worked that out in his mind a long time, I guess. You can read his version in the description, and I currently combined his version, the version we had in the Mortal Online 1 forums a long time ago, and my personal opinion and my personal experience as a decade-long veteran of Mortal Online. What what would benefit the game. But again, this is just my personal opinion. Your opinion can of course differ. And this is exactly the point where you can write in the comments your ideas about that stuff. What would you change, and what do you think is this a good system or not a good system? There's also a vote in the description where you can vote if that system I presented here is kinda okay or not. Of course, the micromanaged balancing stuff is not cleared here, and this is exactly the point. This is not the point that the micromanaged stuff is balanced here. It's just the overall idea of sectors. It's just more or less just if you want to completely break it down, it's just a question if the community wants sectors of territorial control or not, or if you still want to have the circles that we currently have. I mean, please leave your opinion, and please leave a like and subscribe, and please share this video with your guildmates, friends, and discuss about that. And special thanks to all the supporters, of course: Carmel, Professor Olu, Paladins Live, Lukario, Rhonus, Paarthurnax, Cologne, Bulldog, Giovanni, Vargas, RealMadWurst, Cyriss, Mip, Greta, you, and all the others, of course. And never forget to make your sectors hard. I mean party hard. See you all next time. Goodbye.